again. Edo Jacksons and Benjamins. I don't deal with the middleman. I'ma answer when the money call. Ziploc, man, I'm coming strong. My business never get involved.
What's going on, everybody? You know who this is. After Hours Live from the Man Cave. This is your host, Tay Wiggs.
Your co-host, Marcin.
I mean, first and foremost, NBA is coming back July 31st. We're going to do October 12th. MLB still haven't came up with an agreement. They still fighting between amongst themselves. First and foremost, we can actually talk about what's going on in the world, too, with the whole situation, how everything is going with the Black Lives Matter movement, that we're not going to use that Black Lives Matter tag. It's pretty much says that I can't breathe, we can breathe. First and foremost, Drew Brees and Malcolm Jenkins, both New Orleans Saints players. We know Drew Brees is the quarterback, and we know that Malcolm Jenkins is a safety as well for the Saints. And first I want to start off with that topic because I feel like it was a very touchy topic. So you had earlier today, or yesterday rather, Drew Brees came out and said he said he don't agree with everybody doing right now, but he said he will follow the cause and the movement for what's going on with black people. And the first thing that came out of his mouth once he said that his great-grandfather, his grandfathers before them, has fought for this country. They bled and shed tears. And he said he don't agree with what the players is doing. And then Malcolm Jenkins followed up and said, he told Drew Brees he can't slide with this one because at the same time, Malcolm Jenkins and his great-grandparents as well fought for the American flag as well with blood, sweat, and tears. And on top of that, what Malcolm Jenkins said, he said that the African-American man, when he fought in that war, didn't come home to a hero's welcoming. But Drew Brees' great-grandparents came home to a welcoming. So when you hear that, Marcus, what you think about when Drew Brees said that? Was that distasteful, or like you said, he could have waited to another time for that?
I mean, I think it was kind of an ignorant statement because he knows, what this whole kneeling, on the field during the anthem is all about. And if he doesn't know by now, then it's truly a shame. And if he felt that way, he should have kind of kept it to himself.
Right.
And just kind of live with that because now he didn't put it out there. Not everybody's questioning him. Is he, racist? And LeBron stepped in. He called him out. He just got everybody questioning, Drew Brees and what he really stand for, because his comments is really insensitive at this particular time. When basically the whole country is protesting another just tragic situation, and that wasn't called for, where a cop killed another black man. For absolute, for not a legitimate reason wasn't, found. So I don't understand why he said it now, especially too.
So with that being said, now we know Drew Brees is he'd be 42 this year when the season starts, which is old for a quarterback. He will be a Hall of Famer once it's all said and done. Now, do you think what he said carry over into the locker room? Do you think the other black guys and brown guys in that locker room going to question him? They're going to challenge his manhood. And this is the same guy that we see on TV rally his team up. They roo-ha and all that stuff. Now, what is going to happen in that locker room if they have a season this year? How you think that's going to go about with some of them? They got some alpha males in that locker room because at the end of the day, those are grown men.
Right. I mean, the majority of his team is, black men. So it's not it ain't going to end well for him. He got to throw the wide receivers. Offensive lineman got to block for him. It's like he put himself in a real – he going to really have to clear that up before the season starts.
Yeah.
To have a successful season. Or they go do what I think they've been planning to do, which is unrelated, is put the backup as a starting quarterback. I think that's something that the Saints want to do anyway.
Right. So I agree with that. Like you said, The lineman got a block for him. He's going to get it. He's going to get a cheap shot in practice. So we know because we heard the stories about quarterback. The quarterback was talking junk. He think he know what he's talking about. You know, the lineman could let a linebacker come up there and crush you. So like you said, Marcus, it's like a tire. He got to come with some fix-it-flat. He got to patch some things up. And that's going to be a tough one because Kaepernick said it before. He said, look, he took a knee because the oppression of black and brown people in America. We get treated differently from the other race, period.
Right.
You watch TV, live PD, police come up to the car, to the white person's car, he don't have his gun, his hand on his gun. He comes to a black man's car or a black woman's car, his hand is on his gun, on his waist. So what make you feel so comfortable coming to their car without their gun, your hand on your gun, on the waist, but you come to our car, vice versa, with your hand on your gun. We're not threatened because at the same time, we're trying to go home like you're trying to go home. So, like I said, Kaepernick, do I think he should come back and play in the NFL? Without a doubt he should. Me personally, I would tell him no. He said, why bring me back now? I've been trying to tell y'all this now for the last 6-7 years. So you tell me that a guy like Kaepernick is better than some of these guys that we have seen on TV in the last 4 or 5 years at backup. You talking about guys they bring in off the streets like, yo, I never heard of him. So you tell me he can't get a chance? They ain't about his skills is diminished or he can't read a play. They blackballed
The man went to the Super Bowl.
him. Right.
Like, if they would have won, he would have been the Super Bowl MVP. I mean, if we know he can play, we know he's better than a lot of the guys in that. He's better than some starting quarterbacks, and he's definitely better than backup. So it's truly he getting blackballed. But on the flip side of that, he did get his money. You know, they found, he got paid. So now this would be like a cherry on top. I got my money from y'all, and I'm back in the league. But like I was saying, like I think his calling is to be an activist. Personally, I think he's like a face, for activism, protests, because that's basically what he did by kneeling, on the field. And I think he can affect the culture much stronger as an activist than a football player.
All right. 2, you're just hearing different things coming out around. Not only is this is not happening just only in the Saints locker room. I think the Denver Broncos head coach had something to say as well, pretty much. Hey, so he said something about it's a place and a time for everything, just like the New York Knicks owner said that. I want to say, is that James Dolan? They don't understand. Like you said, Marcus, it's a place and time for everything, and you gotta know what you say before you say it. You can't say anything erratic because it's gonna make you look stupid at the end once it's all said and done. Speaking of basketball, with James Dolan, the Knicks said, he said this is a place and time for everything. Right now, we're not talking about what's going on in the world. When I heard that, like, do you know that your starting 5 is African American players? This is the reason why no superstars want to come play for you. You had Charles Oakley banned from these games. You had Spike Lee. Basically, he had to get kicked out and walked around to the other side. You talking about you didn't know Spike Lee was going through those doors. Come on now, the Spike Lee. Everybody know A-list celebrities do not walk through the front doors. Everybody know they come through the side door with personal security guards. I think it's about time for that guy to sell his team too as well. Knicks hasn't been relevant since, let's be honest. Really, the Knicks hasn't been relevant since 1999. And that was a half a season right there during the lockout. And the Knicks at that time, they was an AC who went all the way to the finals. So people say, well,
was the coach.
Right. Most people want to say they was irrelevant when they had Melo. Like I said, they was irrelevant really then in 99. They made some noise. They made some noise in the playoffs with Melo. I think at best they was like the 7 or 6 seed at best, and went home in the first round.
I think that one year though, there was the year Jay Kidd played, but they got bounced in. I think they had a high seed that year, but they got bounced in the first round, by PG and Roy Hibbert.
Big Roy Hibbert, and it's just a lot going on in between those lines. Like certain things, certain people just don't get it because they don't. If you ask me personally, some of them don't care. That's how I feel. So since we're in basketball, July 31st would begin a new date of the NBA. And that season runs to October 12th. Now, the thing that we want to know is 22 teams. You got 13 Western Conference teams and 9 Eastern teams.
Yep.
So they're going to battle it out. It's going to be like one game elimination for the last couple of teams to get into a play in the field. So they're going to have a tournament. Can we get an NCAA tournament type thing? Could it be a Western team versus a Western team? Or can it be 2 Eastern Conference teams? We want to see this. If you had a chance to pick a champion or a Elite Eight or a Cinderella team, who would probably be your Cinderella team once it's all said and done? Who would be a Cinderella team that you would think, like, wow, I ain't seen them making it this far?
I think a team would definitely probably be the Trailblazers. They made it to the Western Conference Finals last year. This year they had a rough year. The best players were hurt. They signed Melo. A couple months into the season, they never really got their gel. But this COVID thing then helped them get their players get healthy. So now they got Hassan Whiteside. Now they're gonna get Nurkic back. They're gonna get Zach Randolph. They're gonna have Melo. They're gonna have C.J. McCollum. Now, dang, they're gonna be fully loaded. So they're gonna have a very low seed, but they're gonna be fully that's a Western Conference Final team. So I think they would be the Cinderella if any team would be.
Yeah, they would be a dangerous team, like you said. And the guys you named that's coming back, that's majority big man. You talk about Nurkic ain't played basketball almost two seasons, so he gets a chance to come back. He can get tuned up. You got Zach Collins coming back, so you're looking at all these pieces. Like I said, you got Hassan Whiteside. You got legitimate 3 7-footers that can control the paint. You talk about Nurkic, it's almost like Nikola Jokic because he can shoot, he can run the floor, he can defend. Look at all the different things that these guys can do in Portland. The Portland Trailblazers can be one of the teams that nobody want to see. The whole thing is teams been laid off for almost, 2.5 months? You can say 3.
Mm-hmm.
Which team do you think that may come back that may not be – you like, man, this team was good, but they're going to let you down? What team going to hurt the most?
I would think it'd be an older team. I had to guess anybody. It will be on the Western Conference again. Maybe I hate to say this, but the Clippers. I don't know. They didn't really have time to gel.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Kawhi Leonard's going to be a little more healthier, but those are veterans. That's a veteran team, and it's going to take them a while to get back in the swing of things, get the rust out. And it was already having a semi slump when this all started anyway.
The one team I can see that could be a disappointment that this can hurt. Probably the Milwaukee Bucks. I can see that happening because
I can agree with that.
It takes a lot to get Giannis going. This season, I think Giannis really started to get to go and really start taking off. I would say around like the 8th or 9th game of the season. So you're talking about they playing 22 games or 22 teams within the 2 or 3.5 months. So you're looking at that with him. Remember, he just found he can shoot a little bit deep from the outside. He start knocking down a 15-footer. So you're talking about a player that can get back into his rhythm. That could be a team that may be surprised, that can actually lose in the second round of the playoffs. A surprise team to me I would say in the Eastern Conference that people probably don't want to play against. If it's up to me, I'm rolling with the Miami Heat.
Oh yeah, they was they was rolling before all this.
Because Tyler Hero come back. Tyler Hero's back.
Yeah, Tyler Hero, right? That's another team that's going to be fully loaded, and they system is it's like in stone, so they just come out there and they can pretty much play with anybody.
Exactly.
And they culture.
All right. Then you got Indiana. To me, Indiana's like a sleeper pick. And it depends. Now, Victor Oladipo, they had him restricted minutes. So 2 days before when the virus came, that night he just got up. He got restricted off the minutes. So this could be another team that nobody wants to see either. So I'm gonna say Pacers and Heat. Team that may be disappointed in the East will be the Milwaukee Bucks. I think the Boston Celtics got it with a take to make slide. We may see a Boston Celtics if they say they do Eastern and Western Conference. If they keep everything Eastern and Western Conference, if you had an Eastern Conference to pick from, I would say Boston or Miami. If it can happen that way.
I would agree with that too. I mean, unless KD and Kyrie come back in secret.
Now,
and
those two come back.
I take Brooklyn.
If those two come back, I'm taking those two.
I know they said they wasn't coming back, but this went a little longer than I think they expected. And I'm hearing both of those guys are healthy, and they could play if they wanted. So if they was to come back, I would say that I don't care how long they've been playing together. Those two guys on the team together is like LeBron and Kyrie being on a team, 4 years ago. They're gonna go deep in the playoffs.
This is a legitimate question right here, Marcus. Before we go to the Western Conference, so we know that nine Eastern NBA teams, right? And they're supposed to be in the playoff game. The Washington Wizards, is this more like, hey, Bradley Beal, we know we messed up. You should have been an all-star. Is this more like, there's more pat on the back, or is this too? Because they play in the nation's capital, what's going on?
That's a good point. I think it's probably a mixture of all of that. They play in the capital. They play Brad Beal on the all-star. If they had a winning record, he'll be in the MVP race. So I think it's a mixture of all those things. And I think they probably do got a legitimate shot. They only playing 8 regular season games. Depending on who they play, I can see them winning, 5 games. If the majority of the teams they play is in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, because I'm looking like, let's not see it come down. They said the Washington Wizards going to be in as the 19. I said, okay, what's going on in the nation's capital? They were trying to take some Trump off Donald Trump. That's how I was looking at it from the outside looking in. Because I'm looking at the record-wise, they're only 1 game better than the Charlotte Hornets.
All right, Charlotte got bumped.
Right. So
they just missed the cut.
Just missed the cut. The nation's capital got the call. So could there be a John Wall signing? Because I heard he's healthy. So if they get a John Wall back with a Bradley Beal, you're talking about another team that could solidify to be bumped in and probably could be dangerous to another team. But on the hindsight, looking in, John Wall hasn't played basketball in 2 seasons. I don't think he's cleared to running yet. If they say I never heard anything. They say he's be cleared to run, play some 5-on-5 contact. So how are they going to do that? There's a lot of scenarios playing on into this.
Yeah, the storyline is going to be crazy. Like it's going to go from dead to like some news every day now, because it gave people who was hurt enough time to get healthy. It gave people who you didn't think was going to play at all in the season, they might can play. Um, and I think maybe some misinformation going around. Like you said, John Wall, you ain't heard he been able to run yet.
Mm-hmm.
But they could be keeping things from the public. You never know now.
Hey, I can't get mad though. I got some people in Toronto that listen to this. Hey, to the people up north, I ain't gonna leave y'all out. I know y'all are the defending NBA champions, the Toronto Raptors. Now say this. Now say the Raptors walk back into the NBA Finals. No DeMar DeRozan, no Kawhi. And Kyle Lowry carries them in Spicy P.
Spicy P.
So now that if Spicy P carried them to the finals, how that's gonna make Kawhi Leonard look in hindsight like, yo.
I don't think it's gonna make him look no type of way. I mean, because I think we all know he was the reason they won last year.
Mm-hmm.
I think it if anything, it'll help Kawhi. Like he, kind of groomed Spicy P to be the guy this year. But if they do that, man, I always have things to say about Toronto because they never beat the Cavs when LeBron was on the team. So I don't really fully respect them. So if they do that, then they'll have my fully respect. Even after they won the championship, half the best Warrior guys was hurt. So I always it's an asterisk on their title, just like when the Warriors beat the Cavs and they have Kyrie.
All right.
And Love. If they go in and go back if they even go back to the finals, just put it that, they get my respect.
All right. Yeah. I says Milwaukee Bucks may be hurt, but this team right here gonna need a Band-Aid, a gauze, some peroxide, and some cotton ball swabs. The 76ers.
Oh.
I haven't seen no pictures of Joel Embiid. We know he's the guy who had to be on the stretcher table, eat grapes, and eat sandwiches. Is Joel Embiid out of shape?
That guy look.
Now, that team goes as Joel Embiid goes. So, now look at the 76ers. I'm looking like you gave Tobias Harris, what's that, $180 million. He's been iffy. He's been like a roller coaster. He's been up and down, up and down. And you looking like you got Josh Richardson, same thing, up and down, up and down.
Up and down.
That 76ers season been up and down, up and down.
Right.
This 76er team, to me, has no identity, has no leader, no guy that really going to step up and put that team on their shoulders and get them over that hump. So you look at somebody like Joel Embiid, you can't take him serious. He's a jokester. He don't take his craft serious enough. We say this all the time about him when we come on this platform. I look at Ben Simmons. He can't shoot. He can't shoot. He can just drive to the hole. If you stop him from going to the hole, the Sixers are doomed. So if Joel Embiid can't get off, nor Ben Simmons, it's a wrap.
It's a wrap. You rely on Tobias Harris and Jason Richardson. And like you said, they've been up and down. You don't know what like Jacqueline Hyde. You don't know what you're going to get every night.
If, say, hypothetically, season, we already said this set in stone, the NBA is coming back. Now, say the playoffs start. They lose in the first round. Coach is getting fired.
See, I think this COVID thing that gave him a break. I think had the season, played out in full, and then they got to the playoffs and lost in the first round, like you just said, he would have definitely been fired. Now I think they're gonna give him a break, depending on when the next season starts. I think they're gonna let him stay. Unless they get swept or something, then then he'll be gone. But if they make it a series, like it goes 7 games, I think they'll give him another shot. Elton Brand and crew gonna give him another shot.
All right. So we're gonna go right to the West. So they got 13 teams in. 13, Marcus. So you already know that these teams follow that would be in Lakers, Clippers, Nuggets, Jazz, Thunder, Rockets, Mavericks, Grizzlies, Blazers, Pelicans, Kings, San Antonio, and Phoenix. Everybody, listen.
That's basically the whole coast.
Everybody made it except for Minnesota and Golden State.
Yeah, it was far out of the picture. We didn't get to see the D-Lo and Cat show. We didn't get to see that. And Carl Towns, his mom passed, so I doubt he would have wanted to play. Golden State, all their guys are probably good enough to play now. But, so stinky.
Right.
It wouldn't have started that started all the shenanigans. Utah Jazz.
What you just say? Because
I
you
think
lost
they're
connection
gonna-
there for a minute.
I said the Utah Jazz who started all of this COVID, this coronavirus, with Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. I think that team about to fall apart. I don't think if they I think they've won enough to at least make the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to be that good. And they got bad team chemistry because the players not coming back. I don't see them doing well. That's going to be my disappointing team for the West.
So listen to this. We talk about asterisks. Today would have been the first night of the NBA Finals. Right?
Right.
Popovich, this has been his first year missing the NBA playoffs, right?
It could be.
The league saved him because he's one of the 13 teams that get invited to this tournament play. I don't care if it's regular season or not. I'm looking at this tournament play as, to me, it's playoffs. Care how nobody see it, regular season. But the reason they did this for these 13 teams to play in, I'm looking at the NBA schedule. You got the Portland Trailblazers, number 9, with 29 wins and 37 losses, followed by the New Orleans Pelicans with 28 wins and 36 losses. Sacramento, 28 wins, 36 losses. Then you got San Antonio with 27 wins, 36 losses. Phoenix with 26 wins, 39 losses. So I'm looking at all these teams from 9 to 13. Only 1.5 games separate these teams from trying to get back in playoff contention. Losses only separate about 1.5 games as well. But to capture that AC, somebody got to beat Memphis. Memphis 32 wins and 32 losses. So looking at that lower half of the Western Conference, you said the Portland Trailblazers. I'm looking at that squad, like you said, all they guys come back, the horses come back. Nurkic, Zach Collins. You got these guys coming back. This team can be dangerous. It can be a dangerous team because you get the other guys back. That's taking less pressure off of Damian. That's taking the pressure off Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum. Because I started watching some of their games more too. Like you said, Melo's there too. The young guy, Anthony Simmons, he's been stepping up. Jerry Trent Jr., these guys been stepping up. So that team can be a very dangerous team. But in hindsight, you're looking at those 13 teams, Marcus. You said the Utah Jazz may be disruptive because with the COVID-19, the COVID Jazz, you look at those guys. I got this one team circle that nobody's really talking about. The OKC Thunder.
Oh.
They're the fifth seed. But
CP3.
CP3 being traded to the Thunder. I'm gonna call it what it is. They traded him like he was a dumpster trash. And ever since he's been there,
Sent them there to die.
all right. And ever since then, Chris Paul keep that team heads above water. He's a true point guard. He's a floor general. He put the players in the best position on the floor to score baskets. And you know, like I said, we had it before, Marcus. MVP, he's not on anybody's MVP conversation. Chris Paul can easily be an MVP in this league. He can easily be an MVP with that team. There's no Kevin Durant. There's no Russell Westbrook. There's no Stephen Losa. There's no Serge Ibaka. It's Jeremy Grant, Steven Adams. Who was it? Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. It's those guys.
Danilo Gallinari.
And Marco Bellinelli. It's those guys. And Marco Bellinelli been a journeyman thus far in the league. So Chris Paul, that Thunder team can be a dangerous team if they can find some way to get a home court advantage. Like I said, I believe what you said, Martin. I can see Utah. They may plummet from 4th down to 7. Just because what's going on in their locker room. Now, who's your Cinderella team? That's my Cinderella team. Who would your Cinderella team would be in this Western Conference playoffs?
You know, so I was saying Portland, you know, because of they low seed.
Uh-huh.
I think they could easily upset a bunch of teams. As long as they don't play the Lakers in the first round, they'd be good. If they get like the 7th seed, that's like great. Well, depending on how the Clippers look. Well, who's in second place? I don't think the Clippers. I think
Clippers in second place.
The third.
They in second place. The Clippers, they play 44 wins and 20 losses. The Lakers is first place, 49 wins and 14 losses.
Yeah. It'll be very tough. But if they can somehow get to the 6th seed, they can go far. But if they got to play the Lakers or the Clippers in the first round, I might have to take that back. That's going to be a tough ask for them to beat the, you know, LeBron or Kawhi if, you know, the Clippers come back like they want to win the whole thing.
Uh-huh.
So let me see. Who would be my second Cinderella team? I will go with the Memphis Grizzlies.
You think Memphis?
You know, some young guys, they was kind of banged up.
Mm-hmm.
John Morant, you know, been playing like like he's a veteran. Jaren Jackson. Those guys have been playing real good. You know, they've been playing. There was an 8th seed going in.
Uh-huh.
And I think they, you know, just from them being rookies and, you know, way behind the ears, not knowing any better, I think they believe they can beat people and they can upset some teams.
No New Orleans Pelicans. No Pelican talk. No Zion Williamson. So you got Zion. Lonzo Ball been stepping up. He be a candidate for most improved player. They got a nice young team, man. With that team down there, you got Drew Holiday. No Anthony Davis. You know what I'm saying? That's a big piece gone right there. No Boogie from last year. So he lost some core guys. Alvin Gentry got that team believing. Can they do some damage? The whole thing, everybody wants to see how Zion look. Is he going to come back overweight? I'm going to say the question is no. I'm going to say no, to be honest with you. You talk about guys that play in the professional league. It's not like how back in the day when you had a guy named Oliver Pig Miller who was 300-something pounds, way out of shape. No disrespect to Oliver Pig Miller. He was built like Jason Whitlock for Speak For Yourself. Huge guy. Can't do anything. Can't jump off the floor. That's what he's built like.
Yeah.
I think the Pelicans will be all right. They was one of those teams at the later half of the season that was merging. They was catching the people's eye. not just because only Zion could dunk. It's about how Zion move on the floor. He's moving kind of well. We seen that he was winded. He couldn't move on down the floor, become off the injury. But it's something there. They can be a dangerous team. But there's another team I'm gonna say who may surprise people. They can be dangerous. This team is TTG, trained to go. The Houston Rockets.
Okay.
Russell Westbrook don't get tired. James Harden lost 20
Forgot
pounds.
about that.
We seen Husky Harden. We never seen Slim Harden. Now, by him losing weight, is he going to lose some of that strength? That's the whole thing. Because it's pictures of him going around the internet on Instagram and Twitter. The guy lost 20 pounds, looked very healthy to me. Now, if he lost some of that weight, 20 pounds, are you talking about him averaging 30? This dude may average 50 in this short span of the season because he looks so slim. He's the same size that he was when he was in OKC. The difference is he's a veteran now.
I forgot about the Houston Rockets. If the picture I seen of Harden, he was looking kind of easy wearish, a little bummy. But he did look slim. I don't think he's gonna lose the strength. He's still gonna be able to travel with the step back.
Ooh, it's gonna be lethal.
That could be another. That's why so many teams, and that's why there's 13 teams in the West, because they all got one or two players that can just make a difference.
Yes, it is. You got a cup like this looking nice. Dallas Mavericks. I think two teams that we may be watching is going to be fun to watch in this short span of the season. The Phoenix Suns got a bucket over here, Devin Booker. Sacramento Kings with Buddy Hield. And I think it's gonna be some scoring, man. It's a lot to say going on in the league. We know the top three teams in the West, man. The Nuggets, Clippers, and the Lakers. Those are sexy pits. But they've been saying the whole time they want that battle for LA. We may get the Clippers and the Lakers NBA Finals if they go along with the tournament format.
I think that's one of the.
Yes, sir. Yo, Mark. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the whole thing is gone. I think it stays in my files. I'm just keep talking anyway, so I can always go back and chop that up.
Okay.
With that, like I said, they got some buckets in Sacramento and Phoenix. Now you looking at those picks with those, like you said, with those 13 teams. What do you think the outcome going to be once that's all said and done? Which team you see going home because there's more of those teams in there?
I'm gonna say teams that go home from the West will be
to make it to that final 8, to make up the 16 playoff roster format.
So I'm gonna say it's gonna be the LA teams. It's a shame that we ain't gonna get the LA, the Staples Center playoff thing. So that's a shame. So what we gonna get? Clippers, the Lakers, Denver. I think Utah. Even though I think they're gonna implode, they want enough games to clinch. So Utah, Dallas. I'm gonna say Portland, Houston. I think that's 8, right?
Yeah. All right.
I said Memphis could, upset some teams. I think they're not. If all the veteran teams play like they're supposed to, Memphis just not quite ready yet. New Orleans just, Zion came back too late. Phoenix, nah. San Antonio, they're gonna miss the playoffs for the first time ever. It's a team I'm missing. that's in that 13.
So you got Phoenix, San Antonio, Sacramento, New Orleans, and
Yeah,
Portland.
and say in Sacramento, Striper Fox, they just and Buddy Hield. I don't think they got enough to get it done yet. So
Once it's all said and done, I think the Memphis Grizzlies going to walk. Then they're going to go home.
okay,
Going with your
so I
pick.
agree.
I'm going with your pick. What you said earlier. I think I'm gonna ride with that Portland Trail Blazers team. Hey, New Orleans and Memphis is playing off raw talent. 2, that both them teams only got, to me, really one good veteran, Drew Holiday for the Pelicans and Valanciunas for the Grizzlies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know you got Jay Crowder. We seen Jay Crowder in big moments. He shrinks under pressure.
Got traded from the Cavs.
The Pelicans,
everything.
right? The Pelicans don't even use Etwan Moore, right? So you talking about veterans on the team that don't get used, right? So that's a whole lot going on. I'm gonna get that edge to Portland Trail Blazers. Everybody's coming back healthy. They got the train to go guys. They got the snipers at both the guards with CJ and Dame Dollar. Better luck next year. Phoenix, San Antonio, Sacramento, New Orleans, Memphis. You was just there. You just had it, Memphis. But you don't have what it takes for the Portland Trail Blazers got. And they still got Carmelo Anthony.
I mean, I think had the season just, went as planned, I think Memphis would have made it because, Portland was just hurt. But since they gave them time, time to get healthy.
Now the crucial thing too.
That ruined their chance. Yeah, it ruined the rookies, the young guys' chance to get some playoff experience.
And what's crucial was New Orleans had the easiest schedule going down the stretch.
True. And that too.
And I hate when people say the strength of schedule. This is the easiest part of the schedule. There's no such thing as an easy schedule. Everybody play everybody the same amount of times.
Right.
You play your Western Conference teams 4 times. You play your Eastern Conference teams either you play them twice. So there's no such thing as an easy schedule. Is they looking at a record rise? Because there could be some teams that are like, you know what? We made the playoffs
at least twice.
Right. We got to at least beat y'all. So Portland's getting in. Terry Scott's fighting another year for his team. And like I said, Portland Trail Blazers, Thunder, and Rockets could be a dangerous team for some of the teams in the Western Conference. Speaking of those top 3 teams, the Lakers and Clippers, Patrick Beverly, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, LeBron James, Anthony Davis. What I want to say is the Denver Nuggets can be a dangerous team too. Jokic just lost 20-some pounds. To me, I was calling him Ilgauskas. He's more agile. He can move, he can shoot, he can score, he can pass. Z can too. But the only thing that slowed Ilgauskas down was the feet. He got it all. Jokic can dribble. He can shoot a 3. Post-up game. A big man's dream. That's what's going to hurt the Clippers. Don't have a true big man. And I think what's going to hurt them is Paul George and Kawhi Leonard is the same player. They both want the ball in their hand. So they're going to have to get a situation is who's going to take game-winning shots? The Lakers?
You want to pick somebody, Lou Will maybe? No, it'll probably be Kawhi. If anybody.
The Lakers.
But another thing is how they gonna do the just made me think of something. They got the waiver wire. Guys get waived. Like, are they still gonna do that? Like, get a chance, to pick up players.
I think they're just going straight into the season because they have to because they're already behind the 8 ball. And them trying to keep certain guys and bring them in. That's one thing I don't think that's going to work. Because if you waive a guy, you still got to bring that guy in. You got to get tested for the COVID-19. And he still got to do a physical. And he still got to get some games in. So you talking about another part of Pandora's box we don't know nothing about. What's going to take that there? So, waiver, like you said, we don't know, like you said, waiver wire. NBA draft. There's no NBA combine. So you don't know who you about to draft. You can't get no good looks because there was no NCAA tournament. The NCAA tournament set the bar higher for NBA teams because you always had that sleeping player that makes it far in NCAA, and you have a stability player. So that's how I see what's going to go on because no NCAA basketball. You can't get a look at a good player that come from these colleges. The small, you got to talk about the little small colleges too as well. So you don't know who you're going to get because some certain teams or organizations draft D2 players too as well, or I mean these bring them in for a look. So
Right.
everything's a wash. So how you know the draft? So basically now it's like you got a blindfold on playing put until on a donkey to see who you're going to draft.
Yeah, that like all of that, like everything's gonna get pushed back. Like, is the season gonna start in January, March, April next year? Like, when they gonna have the draft? Like you're saying, like there's just so many questions now with this pushback. That they haven't answered yet. Now, I'm just curious to see how they're gonna do it because it's gonna be real tricky.
Yes, because the only team that's been only organizations and ball clubs that benefited from it was the NFL.
Right.
NFL can move. Look, NFL had their draft already. They can move their season back another month because no matter when they start their season will always be on time.
Right. True.
So just imagine, say the NFL say, all right, we're not going to start off in September. The NFL season start on my birthday, September 10th. All right, we can move it back to October. And we can still play, and we can play a Super Bowl. They already played Super Bowl early February. They can play in late February. They can still play February 20-something. All right, if we bump the season back into November, we can play the Super Bowl in March. Because either way it goes, the Super Bowl's already played in the hot cities. It's very rare that they play in a cold climate, unless it's in the dome or somewhere, like in Detroit. But other than that, the NFL is always on time.
I always get the high views, and the most TV money.
They get the most TV money because they get the high views too. Because wintertime if you have a snow day or can't go nowhere, they're going to have a football game. If it ain't on TV, it don't have to be your favorite team. You're going to watch NFL football. Point blank, period. That's how that goes. Anything you got to say, Marcus, before we wrap it up?
I think we didn't cover it as much as we could.
Right.
With the news that we got.
All right. Y'all know it. Until next time, folks, you know who it is. It's your host, Tay Wiggs.
Mark Sr.
And we out of here. Peace.
Peace.